and planes and Humvees and tanks to wherever they need to go.
All right, you know, we're going to have Governor Bobby Jindal joining us shortly. We're going to have Governor David Paterson also, and former Governor of New York, George Pataki. But you know, if I could have one wish, I'd like to speak to a Navy guy, not an old Navy guy, but a guy in the prime of his life that used to serve on these ships in a different era and give us a perspective on the ship we're on.
That sounds like a trivia question.
This is your wish come true.
The answer is Senator John McCain.
Wow,
who joins us live now from Washington, D.C. Wow, what an honor to have you with us today as well, Senator. You, of course, have one of the greatest life stories of service and capture. And
family.
And family. I mean, you come from a family embedded in the military. Take us back in time to not only your father, but your grandfather.
Well, my grandfather was a commander of the carriers in the Pacific in World War II. My father was a submarine commander and later commander-in-chief in the Pacific during the Vietnam War. And my family's military service goes all the way back to the Revolutionary War, and I'm especially proud to have a son in the Marine Corps and one who is in pilot training right now in the United States Navy.
What's life like on this ship, Senator? You know, Steve, Gretchen, and myself have all served aboard cruise ships, and we pay a lot of money but what is it like being here day in and day out, and what is it about these men and women that are so pumped up to do it?
Well, I'm sure that the Marines there will tell you it's exactly like a cruise ship. There's plenty of time around the swimming pool and dances every evening. Actually, it's improved a lot. We pay a lot of attention in the all-volunteer force to as much as we can to make sure that we give the men and women who are serving in the military the best food, the best equipment, the best training, and they are the best in the world, and there's nobody that matches up to them. And obviously the New York is an example of the new technology and the new capabilities that are required to combat the new kind of war we're in. And so I'm really grateful to have the opportunity to come on always on your show, but I'm grateful that Fox would go down to the ship and spend this show this morning to honor the men and women. So I say thank you.
Well, it is our pleasure to do just that. And you mentioned the wars that we're fighting. In particular, let's talk a little bit about what's going on in Afghanistan, Senator. Regarding the troop surge, we'd like to know what the number is. We'd like, according to General Stanley McChrystal, he would like it to be a big number. In your estimation, the delay in not naming that means what to the men and women over there?
Well, I can only echo the sentiments that were expressed when you talked to the panel of retired military officers earlier in the show. I'm disappointed that we haven't made the decision. The fact is we already have men and women over there, and the longer we delay in sending them the needed resources they need, the greater danger they are in. And that's just a fundamental fact of warfare. And so I'm past being a bit angry. I'm just very disappointed, and I hope the president will make the right decision soon. And believe me, I also want to emphasize half measures won't work.
Well, let's take that's interesting that you say that, because a lot of people refer to that as the McChrystal Light plan. And yesterday, our own intrepid reporter, Major Garrett, caught up with David Axelrod, one of the key advisors to President Obama, and here's what he said about the president's decision on Afghanistan.
I think that you know, the troops that he ordered in March are just now completing their arrival, and the next troops would not be due there until the spring and summer, and he has time to make this decision and do it in a thoughtful way.
Well, I appreciate.
Does he have time to make this decision after all?
I appreciate Mr. Axelrod's talents. I don't know what his credentials on military deployments are, but the fact is that every day you delay will be another day before they get there, and that's just an indisputable fact. So the other aspect of it is the signal we send to our allies with this delay and the signal we send to our enemies as to whether we'll be steadfast. The other countries over there, if we leave the neighborhood, they have to stay in the neighborhood and accommodate. So, look, I just hope the president will make the right decision soon. I intend to support him when he does.
Yeah, between the 7th and the 11th, that's when he says he'll make it. Now, Senator, I know how much the military means to you and your family. So if these gentlemen and these ladies have decided to come out and support our show and talk about their service, do you have any message for them before we go?
We depend on them. The world depends on them. These are very dangerous times, and I'm so proud to know that we have the best and most professional and best trained military in the history of our country, and that's matching up with some pretty impressive people, but they're the very best, and I'm so proud that Americans love them so much.
How about a round of applause for Senator John McCain? Warm up your hands.
and he's always been an ally to the military in Washington, and the military does need allies.
All right, Senator, we thank you very much for joining us live.